Hi, everyone. This is Eliza, and I am the director of counseling at McLean Bible. And I am here today with another question, but I'm also here with a guest. I'm here with Esther Smith, and she is a friend and fellow biblical counselor. And I wanted to have her come on today because I felt like she was the best person to help answer the question that I'm going to share with you. Esther, as I mentioned, is a biblical counselor. She's authored a few books, two on her own, and then one recently with P&R Publications. This is called Chronic Illness, Walking by Faith. And this is a fantastic devotional. It's 31 days of devotionals that walk with people who are struggling with the issue of chronic illness, chronic pain. I found it very helpful for myself and have shared it with a lot of people. So when the question came in that I'm going to share with you today, I felt like Esther was the best person to answer this question. So thank you, Esther, for being with me today. And I will just jump right in.
Okay, sounds good.
Here's the question. It says, this is on the subject of chronic illness and chronic pain. And it says, what are some strategies that you can give or suggest for coping with chronic pain or any other ongoing physical health problems? So I thought it was a good question, and I'd just love to kind of hand it over to you to share. What strategies would you share?
Yeah, it is a good question. A lot of people, more people than we probably realize, struggle with long-term health conditions. And, the first thing that I would say for people struggling in this way is to live within the reality of the body that God has given you. We wish often that we might have a different body than we have. We wish we didn't have the limitations that we have, but we have to live within the reality and the amount of strength that God has given us. And a lot of times for people with chronic health conditions, that means we have limitations and we need a lot of rest. And there's certain things that we cannot do. And we can really at times harm ourselves or even progress the conditions further if we don't live within the reality of those limitations. And, oftentimes we might even feel guilty or ashamed of things that we cannot do. But God has very specifically given us these bodies that we have. And I think it's just very important to, recognize that and live within that. The second thing I would say would be to stay within the moment and to think about what you can do to improve difficult moments. So it's very easy to either, feel ourselves pulled into the future of, what's going to happen? How am I going to feel tomorrow? What am I going to do about these symptoms? It's also easily to be very paralyzed in the moment, to not do anything about difficult symptoms. So I often ask myself or have other people ask themselves, what would make this moment better? Do I need ice? Do I need heat? Do I need rest, a walk? Do I need to stretch? Should I take my pain meds? Should I reach out to a friend? Instead of like sitting in the misery of feeling terrible, to actually do something, no matter how small it is, basic self-care things that we can forget in the moment. The third thing I would say is to change your focus from yourself to other people. So doing things for other people, serving other people. It's very easy to become very self-focused, to look very inward, to feel a lot of self-pity, a lot of depression. And one way to kind of pull ourselves out of that is to really look at the needs around us. And that could be something very small. It could be listening to someone who's struggling. It could be making somebody a cup of tea, something very small where we feel like, okay, like I'm still able to live out the purpose God has for me of serving Him, of glorifying Him through the things I do for other people. And that can really start to snap us out of some of that self-pity, some of that depression that we start to feel. The final thing I would say is to use times of difficult health, of limitations, of not feeling well, to connect with God. A lot of times when we're down and out for the count, we can't do very much, but we can always pray. most of the time, unless where symptoms are very severe, we can always dig into scripture. It really is a time to be able to move away from, from work, from striving, from trying to accomplish things, and to focus on God and connecting with Him and that relationship with Him. And that might be maybe the most important, one of all of these strategies of just being able to, refocus our time on Him. So those are four strategies that I would give people. Those might be maybe my top four.
That's really good. So encouraging, which is exactly why I wanted you to come on and talk. And if there's anybody out there who has other questions, you can put them in our comments today. We're answering some of those questions. Actually, Esther will be answering some of those questions. But if you want to learn more about Esther and hear more about what she's doing, she does write a great blog on, you can find her at Life in Slow Motion.
Mm-hmm.
And again, check out her book. This is very, very helpful. And you can get it on Amazon, and you can also get it at Westminster Bookstore is carrying it, as well as P&R Publishers. You can find it there. Great series of books that they have that are just daily devotions, and this one is specifically for people who struggle with chronic pain and illness. And so, Esther, thank you so much. I'm sure this is going to be really helpful for a lot of people. So thank you for your time today with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.